George Paul from Cherished Keepsakes, here with another behind the scenes. Just trying to play with some new features of Photoshop. The goal always with anything that we do over here is to increase the quality while decreasing the effort that we put forth. And of course, using technology is supposed to help with that. So I wanted to take you on one of the newest features with Photoshop. Let's go back. Is one of the newest features is a feature called generative fill, which uses AI or artificial technology to fill in specific areas of your photos and things, your files that you're working on, with what you determine to go there. So, for example, let's say you had a picture and then you wanted to just, like in this case, where this is all cropped off because this is the original photo, and I wanted to just complete this area so I could have the shoulders free, because I ideally would like to do this design without having him in a frame, because that's kind of the future of memorial designs and memorial keepsakes. It's kind of having the loved one live outside of the frame. And so I want to continue with that. But when you get pictures like this, it's a lot of Photoshop work to try to fill this in. And I've done videos like that in the past. So I said, well, since I have just a little bit of time, let me play around and see what these new features can do and just share that journey with you. And it was actually pretty funny. So let me start with my process. And if you find this helpful, definitely follow Cherished Keepsakes, and I'll continue to share videos like this. If you have any ideas or things that you would like to see me do for yourself or how it can help your firm, definitely either DM me or put something in the comments. So my thinking about this was to first and foremost, remove him from the background. So the very first thing, but I also want to extend the shoulders so that I could work with that and just have him live outside of the frame. So my first thought was, naturally you have to expand the canvas size so that way you have more to work with. So I ended up just picking 15 inches wide. That should give me enough to create, an imaginary area of what I want to continue. So then I select the subject. So just go in and kind of deselect some of these extra notched areas so it's just pretty smooth. Let's get this area here. Add to this. And everything else looks pretty good. Okay. So next thing that I want to do is smooth the selection, actually. So this is where, and so one of the things that I was trying to do is I want to add on to the shoulders, and I'm going to create an imaginary and implied shape of how I think, or if I was physically there, what it would look like if his shoulders continued and the rest of his upper body. So it'd probably be something kind of around here, because this is pretty wide. So this is probably, the edge of his shoulder. So I'm going to add to the selection. It doesn't need to be crazy. And then this one's going to be a little wider, but it's still going to come down. And let's add that in. So now we're going to smooth this selection, copy, paste. So now this is where kind of the fun begins, or the experimentation. Select inverse. So now I was doing a generative fill. So this is the new feature in Photoshop. And with AI, and I did a previous post about this, and I'll see if I remember to do this, because I post these later on. But in the notes, I'll try to put a link or the comments to the previous post that I made about AI, and I used ChatGPT to edit an obituary. I'm actually starting to see that from some some of the firms that we work with, because I know what it looks like when you put something in ChatGPT and then copy and paste it into Word. But nonetheless, it actually makes it better. You know, that's what we are to do, is to use technology to make our jobs easier. So, and actually, when I'm looking at this, so shoulder here, he's kind of leaned down. So, okay, so that seems fine. So, like I said, with anything with AI, it's really all about the prompt, what you tell it. The more specific you are, then the better the results. And because if not, you're going to get some crazy things. So I put generative fill. So I wrote. So the first time I did this, and it was actually pretty hilarious. I don't know if I can repeat it again, but I'm going to try to put in the same prompt. Um, Beige suit to fill in white areas, and then hit generate. Because that's all I'm trying to do, is fill this in area and fill this in. And you can see it's like completely not. Last time I did it, it was like just a white guy, completely different. It was actually pretty hilarious because I just was not expecting that. So you can see, so that's not what I'm trying to do. So let's go back. Now, another thing that I was trying to do is another type of generative fill, where you're filling the selection where it's content aware. Now, content aware is basically saying, look at what's around you and basically fill it in with what you think it should be based on what you're looking at in the picture. So content aware, because I could actually put a specific pattern. I did that, and you can actually see, watch what happens. It puts that there. That's not what we want. So we want to content aware fill, color active, so all of that, and let's put that in. And that's basically what we really want. Realistically, there should be some type of a edge here, some type of a black line to, you know, the separation of that piece of the suit, like you see over here. And let's do this one, content aware fill, and we get this. So is this really what we're looking for? Is this another way to do it? I'm not sure. It's new technology, but I wanted to share this. Would I run with this? Probably not. But it is giving me ideas on how to complete this. So first thing I can do then is this. And that's, I'm just going to take this area here and just flip it on this side, and then I can fill in the rest of the area with the content aware fill. So let's copy, paste, and let's flip this. Where is it? Image, transform, flip horizontal. Then we're going to do a free transform, so I can basically balance out the other side. Then we're gonna erase the edges to soften it up. Brush is a little too big. And move it in some more. Try to match right around here. And then what I want to do here is create an implied leaf. Then use the clone stamp tool, too large, and fill this in. Oh, there we go. No, almost there. Zoom out. Then let's go over this. Let's get a smaller brush and hide these hard edges. We need a much smaller brush. Let's go like 7. There we go. And I'm just trying to blend this in. So that looks natural. Let's now merge these. Merge layers. So now everything's together. So now what I want to do is a generative fill, or no, a content aware fill. And just deselect, see what that looks like. It's much a natural progression. But let's clean up these areas here because we don't need all of that. So I'm going to get a much larger brush now. I'm going to take from this side. And I just kind of want to create like a natural progression or transition with the shadow. Let's now change the opacity, make it a little lighter. Still too dark. I'm just trying to make it just a little lighter. And we'll see how this places when I put it in. Let's see. And where's the other cover? Because there was another cover photo. I was hoping that the cover photo would have like this line. Maybe I can play with that. This was the alternative, but this is just way too much. And try to do some type of a fill here. It's missing his ear. You have the hand coming over. That's a little too much. But I'm wondering if I can play with this shoulder here and bring that in. Let's edit, fill, no, transform, and flip it. And it needs to be much larger. Rotate it so it almost looks like a shoulder. And then let's see, would we be able to change the hue of this jacket to match what we see here? It's different lighting. So all I really want to do is try to match it as best as get as close as possible. And then I'm going to kind of erase away everything else. So let's try that, and let's erase away everything else. Hardness 0. Oh, that's not the eraser, that's the healing brush. Could have used that. Okay, so let's go back to the eraser. Wrong layer. There we go. It's actually not a bad transition. What did I just do? What I want to do is like his shoulder really, if this is proportional, goes really like that deltoid area. You're thinking about anatomy, really kind of drops down at this point. So what I want to do is skew this and stretch it a little bit so it looks a little more natural. You still need to play with the tone and the hue of the photo. Let's see if color balance. This to make it more neutral, more blue. No. And so adding more blue. Yeah. So adding just a little more blue. More green. And definitely need to lighten this up. And let's play with the levels. Come on, we can get there. Okay. I'm actually not really liking this that much. Let me see. Let's select all, copy, paste, and let's flip that. Maybe if I bring this one over to match the shoulders, kind of might bring it all together. Kind of almost is to a small degree. But, you know, part of my goal is always to make things look natural and not photoshopped. And this is definitely feeling photoshopped. So this just could be, you know, a failed attempt, but really failed attempt is, if you think about the word fail, it's really just an acronym for first attempt in learning how to get better at something. You know, if I'm spending too much time on something, then I would just go back with the frame. Well, let's merge these two layers. And where is it? Group layers. It's supposed to be merge. Oh, there we go. Merge layers. So realistically, I want to try to match this this background more with the current tone of his suit. But it's really all about trying to mess with the hues and the saturations to get a little more neutral. Back to 0. But I don't want to spend too much time on this either as well. Let's take away less saturation. That's a little better. If worst comes to worst, I could always just put him in a frame with the background removed. So that shouldn't take too long. Let's actually go back to that. Well, let me, just so that I have this as a secondary option. And when it comes time, I could just drop that in once I start doing the design, which I will make in a separate video because they have multiple keepsakes. And I want to show you how we do that in real time as well. So almost there. And let's get this area. And that. Then smooth the selection. Copy, paste. Auto color, auto tone. Definitely don't want to do that. It's just a little too much red in the picture. So color balance. That should be good. Levels, definitely make it a little more lighter, a little more punchier. And bring down the shadows to fill in round amount. Save as. And we'll say version 2. Stage 1. So now I have both of these options. And so we'll see what that looks like in the next one. But again, maybe this is a failed attempt. Maybe it will work. I'll see when I drop everything in. Maybe the background might help to hide some of that Photoshop effect. I'm not sure. But I might end up also doing a printout and seeing what it looks like printed, just because what you see on digital and what you see on screen is completely different from what gets printed out, because you're talking about two different color ways to render color. Screens do RGB using 3 colors, and it's backlit, so it's always going to be a little punchier, a little brighter than when you print, because print CMYK lays on top of the paper. It's going to be a little darker. So, you know, you have to kind of be a little more thorough with things like that, especially with good clients, just to make sure you're doing your job to make them look good. But thank you for watching this. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Is there an easier way to do that type of fill-in where you're making it look natural? And if so, definitely let me know, because efficiency, but also improving the quality is very important for us, and that's part of our brand. So thank you very much. Wishing you the best and honoring the legacies in your care.